Good morning and welcome to this Grande Prairie District Chamber of Commerce Interchange. My name is Tertius Jennis. I'm the first Vice Chair of the Chamber of Commerce. I would like to start by acknowledging the Treaty 8 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Cree, Dani, as well as the Métis. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis and Inuit, whose footsteps have marked these lands for generations. We recognize the land as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on or are visiting. As mentioned earlier, we want to remind you that this session is being recorded to share later. There will be time for questions, and again, you can use the chat function, and if you want immediate responses, then just raise your hand or do a song and dance. Today's session is the City of Grande Prairie's business license changes that we're going to hear about. And before I'm going to introduce our presenters, I just want to welcome our exquisite Chief Executive Officer of the Grande Prairie Chamber, Tanya Oliver, with some exciting news for businesses and for local shoppers.
Exquisite. Thank you, Tertius.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to take a couple minutes and update everybody, or I guess maybe inform some people of our Think Local GP.ca campaign. So this is the campaign that we are running with support of the Shop Local federal grant that we received under the ACC umbrella, under the Alberta Chambers of Commerce. And we have various programs under that, one of them being our prepaid Visa cards that are geo-fenced to the City of Grande Prairie, and we are officially sold out of those this round. So that is $60,000 worth of local spending that we're going to be able to guarantee injected into the community. So we're super excited about that. Our team also is working on Chamber Market, which is a new e-commerce marketplace solution. So we're looking for interested businesses right now to sign up for that. We continue to work on our Get in the Loop digital marketing platform, and we're always looking for both partners and interested consumers to join us on there. And we've worked really hard on a video as well, which we'll show you here right away. Just really wanting to stress the importance of what it means to support local. So it's shopping local, it's hiring local, it's local businesses supporting other local businesses, and the domino effect of that is so profound. So we'll show the video and then we'll kick it back over to Tertius.
Grande Prairie's regional community thrives when people think local. Andre's $10 bought him a hammy on rye and his cappuccino.
2 sugars, please.
Cappuccino, 2 sugars.
That same $10 helps the cafe source their ham from a butcher down the street.
And my butcher shop donates to the food bank every month.
From the comfort of her home, Maya finally bought those Featherlight hiking boots she's been eyeing.
I bought them from a local store, online.
And part of her purchase let the store owner hire Alexandra, the neighboring accountant.
With some of my earnings, I took my kids to explore the dinosaur museum. They love their dinosaurs.
That's because every dollar spent locally gets spent again and again and again. Evan bought his new iGadget 3000 at the big box store. He wasn't even thinking about supporting local.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was supporting local.
But that store pays Andre his salary.
Cappuccino for Andre, 2 sugars.
That's me.
So he can keep getting his cappuccinos. 2 sugars. Explore local. Support local. Think local. Think local GP.
I just love our video, and it was so fun working with the distillery, a local company that produced it and took our idea and made it come to life. And yeah, so I just really, like always, really want to encourage everybody to support local and just think about what that means. And we have our thriving, amazing community to thank for when people do that. So over to you, Tertius.
Wonderful. Tanya, thank you for that passion. And yeah, you're always on top of this. And I know the other chambers are envious of how we really look out for our local businesses. And we're going to continue to do that. And thank you again. And for this video as well, definitely getting the hits now. And that's fantastic. And I think it's really in tune now with our presentation that's going to follow, where the business licenses will play a part as well. And I want to welcome our presenters, Cindy, Patton, and Megan Dennis from the city of Grande Prairie. As the business retention and expansion coordinator for the city, Cindy is here to learn more about your business. Having lived in Grande Prairie for many years, she's a great resource to connect with the right people to better understand possible barriers to growth or operations. Cindy is your go-to when it comes to downtown incentive grants, business development, retention, and expansion questions or concerns. Just on my own experience dealing with Cindy, she's totally out there all the time, and she's always willing to help. And when she doesn't have the right answer, she knows where to get it. So thanks for that. Megan is the business license coordinator for the city of Grande Prairie. She's been with the city since 2009. And has been working with business licensing since 2016. In 2019, her role expanded and she took over the drafting, administering, processing, and enforcing for all aspects of the city's business license bylaw. Megan is the main point of contact for businesses in the city with questions about their business licenses. Please welcome Cindy and Megan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having both Megan and I here today. We're excited to share this information. As Tertius mentioned, I'm Cindy Patton, the Business Retention and Expansion Coordinator with the city. And my role is connecting with businesses through our business visitation program. And I may have spoken with some of you recently, so hi. Through our business outreach, the economic development team has been working with our colleagues in business licensing to help with key focus as education first. We have been helping field questions with changes and regulations, and also providing assistance of navigating the City of Grande Prairie's website to get the application form. You might ask, why does economic development need this information and what can it be used for? I'd like to share with you 3 key benefits for our team and how this information is used. The first benefit of business licensing is it provides the city with key information to support the community during an emergency response. During COVID-19, when GPREP was activated, it was crucial that we had business contacts to assist with supply chain shortages. There were many hours spent searching for contacts, business names, and local suppliers of PPE to support the community. Once the reopening phases began, having this key information assisted the business ambassador team to form a plan of helping businesses reopen based on each business type. With businesses requiring a license, this will provide us with a database to assist more efficiently. The second benefit is supporting business development by knowing what types of businesses operate in the city of Grande Prairie. This helps the city understand the current economic landscape and respond to business needs. Being able to diversify our economy will help the city of Grande Prairie continue to thrive, even though certain sectors may be impacted. Having business licenses will provide ever-growing data that can be used to assist in these uncertain times. The third benefit is the ability to focus on business retention and expansion. Having this data will support initiatives as we can assist in identifying local supply chains and services to improve efficiencies. The economic development team would use these statistics to develop initiatives that support the business community and attract investment. By using the data collected, the team can work on strategies and initiatives to attract or target specific industry. For example, with the newly announced $2.5 billion carbon neutral ammonia and methanol production facility slated for the MD of Greenview, part of that plan is to source locally as much as possible. This would be considered their supply chain. Knowing if they can get their supplies locally or having to outsource is key to a successful operation. Knowing what types of businesses currently operate in the city of Grande Prairie will help with outside investment. Bringing in outside investment shows the province and the country that we are an integral part of the Alberta economy. I'd like to now introduce Megan Dennis, our business license coordinator, and she's going to provide some information on the whole process.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm just going to share my screen here because I have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation. Just bear with me here. All right, and everyone can see my screen here. Okay, I'm here today to give a little insight on the business licensing process for the City of Grande Prairie. I'll briefly cover the history of the business license bylaw, and then I will move into the process with some further details. The previous business license bylaw, 1064, was adopted in July of 2003 and repealed on May 1st of 2021 by the newly adopted business license bylaw C-1393. This bylaw required only specific business categories such as the cannabis-related industry, construction and trades, towing and boosting services, and home occupations to obtain a municipal business license. Businesses that did not identify within the bylaw of C-1064 did not require an annual license. They simply required development and building permits prior to the business occupying their space. The business license bylaw C-1393 was adopted on November 30th of 2020 and came into effect on May 1st of 2021. Businesses that operate in the City of Grande Prairie require an annual business license unless exempt by provincial or federal legislation. Businesses that are exempt from obtaining a municipal business license are encouraged to complete the application form and provide their corresponding exemption legislation. This will help the city understand the current economic landscape of businesses in the Grande Prairie, and a few examples of these exempt businesses include dentists, doctors, and physical therapists. So the business license process. So step one, we have apply for the business license. This can be completed through our online business and development portal by a PDF application form through email or in person by coming down to our office in the City Service Center. Steps 2 through 4, the business licensing department begins the process for an internal review of the application. Let's break that down into further steps. Step 2 is the application review. When a business applies for a municipal business license, certain criteria are checked before the business license certificate is issued. After the application is received, we review the application details and follow up with any questions we may have or submittal requirements that are missing from the application. Step 3 is the land use approval. We confirm if the desired location is appropriately zoned for the business activity. This means that some businesses may be unable to operate their business activities in certain areas of the city as described in our land use bylaw. If necessary, the applicant may be contacted by our development officers to guide them through the land use approval process. Step 4 is the occupancy classification. We assign the occupancy classification of the business location to your business license. In some cases, the business activity might not align with the occupancy classification assigned to the building at the proposed business location. For example, restaurants have certain safety code requirements, and let's say an automotive repair shop wanted to move into a location that was previously operated as a restaurant. The applicant would have to go through an extensive renovation to ensure that all safety code requirements have been fulfilled prior to opening their business. Through the business licensing process, the applicant would be contacted by one of our safety codes or fire prevention officers to guide them through the safety code requirements for that location. Step 5 is the issuance of the business license. The business license certificate is issued once the land use approval has been obtained and the occupancy classification is correctly assigned. The business license will be mailed out to the business address, the mailing address that was provided to us on the business license file. In some cases, we will issue the business license if the required permits have been applied for and are currently in process. The business license expires at midnight at month end, 1 calendar year from the initial date the license is issued, unless otherwise specified. A renewal notice will be sent out 1 month prior to the business license expiring. You may need to check your junk mail folder, as some email address domains have been known to redirect our renewal notices. If you plan to change your business location and you already have a business license, please let us know prior to the move, as there may be additional approvals required at your new business location. If you close, we ask that you contact us so we can close your business license file. If you sell your business, the new owner is responsible for applying for the new business license, and potentially other approvals may also be required. If your business closes, the business license fee is non-refundable. The business license fee is primarily based upon where the physical location of the business is. These are categorized as commercial-based, home-based, and non-resident. The adoption of the bylaw primarily affects businesses that did not previously require a municipal business license. These businesses were typically those that are commercially based, such as retail, restaurant, accommodation, fitness, and recreational type of industries. The business license fee for a commercially based business within the city is $0, and we just require an application to be submitted. Although the bylaw's focus was to capture all businesses operating in the city, we have had an increase of home-based business license applications as well. One misunderstanding is that licensing a home-based business is a new requirement, but actually they have always required a business license. Why does the city care if I operate a business from my home? We want to ensure that the proposed business will not affect the residential nature of the neighborhood. It also prevents non-desirable businesses, such as an automotive repair shop operating next door to your home. When we receive a business license application, we have one of our development officers follow up to confirm if the business falls off as a home office or a home business. A home office is when the use of the home is to conduct business activity that does not require client or employee visits to the home. Example of businesses that qualify as a home office include any desk and telephone occupations, such as bookkeeping, web-based businesses, or consultants. A home business is the use of a home, shed, or garage to conduct a business activity that does require client or employee visits to the home. This also includes on-site parking of a utility trailer or any food truck associated with the home business. This may also involve delivery, storage of goods, and supplies to the home. Example of businesses that qualify as a home-based business include hairstylists, massage therapists, or home bakeries. If the development officer determines that the business is a home office only, there is no fee for the home office consent. However, if the development officer determines that this business is a home business, then there is a one-time application fee of $300 for the development permit, and this permit is good for as long as this business operates from that address. The business license fee is a separate fee. The license fee for a home office or a home business is $200 and is an annual renewal. In addition to the bylaw for home-based businesses is an off-site business operations. This applies to businesses where the entirety of the business operations occur off-site, meaning not at all at their home. Some examples of these businesses include general contractors, janitorial services, gas and HVAC or plumbing contractors, mobile massage therapists, or welders. The license fee for these types of businesses is $0. What is a non-resident business, you might ask? Well, a non-resident business is a business that operates within the city's municipal limits in whole or in part, but does not have a permanent Grande Prairie business location. A non-resident business has always required a business license. The license fee for a whole year is $525. We also offer a 3-month temporary license for $175 and a 3-day temporary license for $75. As non-resident businesses do not pay city taxes, the fee for a city business license is higher than for those businesses that maintain a base business location within the city. The grace period for businesses to apply for their business license is December 1st. Businesses do not need to have their license displayed by the state, but we just ask that an application is made prior to the grace period ending. The city will continue on an educational approach and deal with non-compliant businesses as they come to our attention. We try to work with the business owner and provide them a reasonable timeline to apply for their business license and any applicable permits that they may require. And thank you everyone that has joined us today for this little information session, and thank you Chamber for inviting us to present today.
Well, thank you so much, Megan and Cindy. That was, wow, I've definitely learned a lot of interesting bits and pieces here. I think we're going to go into our questionnaire period, and I'm going to let Tom handle that for us. And yeah, please, Tom, if you can take it away.
Betcha. Thanks, Tertius. And yes, thanks, ladies. It's a lot of really good information. If there are any questions from the group, I see Pam has her hand up.
I just have a couple questions. Thanks a lot for that information. What has the uptake been? Like, do you have a lot of outstanding applications, licenses that you know of? I guess through the tax roll, you would know?
That information we do not know. So that's part of the business licensing process, is to actually find out how many businesses that we do have in the city here.
Oh, okay. Okay. The other question I had, and maybe just like, I'm a bit confused. The renewal process, you said they'll send out the renewals by email. I'm assuming there are penalties if you don't renew on time. But since you send it out by email, and, you know, office managers and, you know, people change jobs, leave organizations, their email gets scrapped by the organization. And if the new person coming in, they might actually not even realize they need to renew this business license every year. I'm wondering why that renewal wouldn't be sent out in like their tax statement or something, like just so to make sure it did in fact get to the business, like the business manager, whoever handles that stuff. I just think it's, for me, a lot of stuff goes into junk. And if I'm not diligent in looking in that junk folder, and if, say I'm not, what if someone else came into my organization that took over that task? It could leave some businesses up for fines, and especially businesses that want to comply. I'm just wondering what the rationale behind the emailing of it was.
So we decided to go through the decision of emailing it versus sending it out in the mail, just to essentially have it more efficient and not rely on the mail system, because sometimes the renewal notices could take 2 to 3 weeks of getting to the business versus whereas email, it's sent out immediately. We do essentially inform the businesses to utilize an email address that would be, I guess, a common email addresses for businesses to use for that notice. And if we do receive anything that's been undeliverable because the email address doesn't exist anymore, I will try to make an effort to contact the business to update that, or also send out a mailed out notice just so that they're aware.
Okay, but I guess if for some reason someone doesn't renew and it ended up, they didn't see the notice and they weren't aware that it was coming, you would give them some leeway in that respect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks, Pam. Any other questions from the folks?
I
see a couple of hands up. Tertius or Dan? We'll go Tertius and then Dan. I saw Tertius's hand first. So.
Thanks, Tom. I offered him cash here in the chat, Dan, that's why. Anyways, a couple of questions. And it's maybe leading to kind of of what Pam was asking. So how is this going to be monitored? So more specifically, you know, I guess a fairness thing. So, you know, obviously you want to, you know, admire the people that do sign up by December 1st and, you know, follow the rules and regulations. What are your plans with the ones that are not going to follow that? That's my first question.
In regards to initially applying for the business license or for the renewal process?
No, this is for initial businesses. So like that now all of a sudden, hey, I need to get a business license now. And yeah.
So our intention is to approach these businesses on an educational basis, and we will give them a reasonable timeline to apply for their business license. We are just looking for businesses to cooperate essentially with us. And if they're willing to cooperate, then so are we essentially. We want to work with business owners.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And again, what was valuable for me was Cindy's first point when she said why the pros of having a business license, especially when there's crisis emergencies, you know, then we have that data. So to me, that's something that I can use when businesses do question me regarding the benefits. My second question is, and I think you've answered that already, but I just want to make sure I'm very clear on this. So there's no such thing as, let's call it a universal business license. So if you have kind of the headquarters in GP and you have a satellite office in the county, the fact is if you're going to have businesses in either area, you're going to pay, correct? So there's no universal kind of business license, if that makes sense what I'm asking.
That's correct. Yeah, we don't have a universal business license. Essentially, the county right now doesn't actually have business licensing requirements. I believe the town of Sexsmith does, town of Beaver Lodge and Wembley does. The MD of Greenview does not. And so essentially businesses that ask that kind of question, we just inform them that they need to contact each municipality because every municipality has different rules and regulations.
Thanks, man.
Okay, and they're kind of piling up here. I'm going to go to Dan first, and then we have a question from Denise in the chat, and I see Lionel's hand up. So we'll go in that order if that's works for everyone. Go ahead, Dan.
Works for me because I'm next. My question was along the same lines as Tertius's, but it's a little more direct. Are there penalties for not filing a business license?
So there are, yeah. The fee for a business not having a business license is $500 per day that they're essentially in operation. So obviously that is the last extreme resort, and that's a resort that we really don't want to take.
So that's even for the businesses, the commercial businesses that don't have to pay a fee, they would get penalized $500 a day. Okay. When can you share the stats on the businesses, and or is that something that you would share with the chamber?
Possibly. I think I need to contact our FOIP department just to ensure what kind of information that we can share and what that would look like. We do or would like to kind of create a directory of some sort, but again, at that time, we'd have to just kind of see what information that we're able to provide.
I can jump in there a little bit too, Megan. We did have those conversations initially, and that was one of the big pieces from economic development is being able to share some of those stats. At this point, providing a directory of the business information isn't on the radar or the agenda for the city, but being able to provide statistics and data around broader categories to a level where we're still providing anonymous information, but we're able to get a good sense of the trends and employment data is really important for us in economic development. Going back to Pam's question earlier, just about how many businesses we do have, that's one of the challenges is that we don't know. In economic development, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly, right now, if somebody asks me, well, how many car washes do you have? I don't know, I could go to Google and take a look, but we don't really have solid information. We have best guesses. The Alberta, the province has a regional dashboard, and so I just pulled it up. Their estimate is that there are 3,174 businesses in the city of Grande Prairie, but it doesn't break that down to tell me whether those are home-based or commercial-based or what size they are. So it's not a very valuable number because I can't quantify it or really explain the parameters. So
yeah, we look forward to getting that kind of information. Like even the anonymous stuff is really helpful for us.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's great for when you start doing gap analyses for labor markets and things like that. The more information you have like that is very helpful in creating and bringing new businesses to town. So yeah, it should be very valuable information. I'm going to repeat Denise's question from the chat. She would like more detail regarding the exemption for provincial government offices and services. They provide services on behalf of the government of Alberta. What documentation do they need to provide for exemption?
So this documentation would be from the Queen's printer with the Alberta government. Essentially, it's an act, and within that act, it specifically says that they're exempt from obtaining a municipal business license. So for example, if you were to search the Health Professions Act, it'll actually specifically say in there that these types of businesses are exempt from obtaining a municipal business license.
Can you put that in the maybe the chat bar as to where I would look for that? We run an employment service contractors to the government, so I don't think we're officially classified commercial, and that was where I was confused when I started looking. The business license is, what I would put there, where I would find that. Because we provide everything at no charge.
I can find that information there where you would be able to find that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Denise. We will go to Lionel next.
Thanks, Tom. So thank you for the presentation. Just wondering, speaking on behalf of the retailers at Prairie Mall, who are predominantly national and international brands, they typically wouldn't complete an application on a local basis. I guess what is the process to follow up with national offices in terms of ensuring that an application is complete?
So there's been a couple of strategies that we've tried to essentially maneuver through the process of having businesses apply for business licenses. So in the summertime, we did have a summer student that did go door or kind of business to business to just provide information to the manager or the supervisor that was on site there. And then another strategy that I've overtaken is essentially I've had to Google businesses and their head offices and send them an email just to inform them that way that the business license bylaw has changed in the city of Grande Prairie and how to apply. So it has been a difficult task to try to reach these big box businesses to make sure that they are in compliance with the new bylaw here.
And I bring that up because even as tenants of the mall, even for us, it's difficult sometimes to follow the chain of who to contact for what. So I mean, just to kind of give you a heads up, I think you have a bit of a task there. Because like I say, we deal with these tenants on a daily basis and sometimes we don't know who to contact specifically. So I just thought I would mention that and see what. So if they did not respond, would they be fined?
They possibly could be. That would be the last resort. We would still try to work with the business and essentially get them to apply. And obviously that is an option, but it would be definitely the last resort. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lionel. Tanya has her hand up. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. And thanks, ladies, for your presentation. I just have this is not why I have my hand up, but maybe for the mall, if you could send something like a mass through Lionel to the tenants, that might be a good fit in too. But anyways, that's totally getting into the weeds and just an idea that popped in my head. So I'm not going to get into the weeds. Two things. One, I really love the supply chain data reasoning and the pending construction of the Northern Petrochemicals site as an amazing reason why we need to know all of our businesses in town. Like, it's so valuable to be able to contact and share that information, and to really know what we can do here with what we already have, and fill in the gaps when we have to. But we have such a wealth of assets within the area. We just need to know about them all. So my question though is, with remote work being something that has to happen with the pandemic, would a home office be considered? So Tom's been working from home. Rebecca, you're working from home. Like, you're not a business yourself, you're an office. So does that count? And then also, no, okay. And then I guess, what's the reasoning behind, for the home offices and home businesses, they have a fee where other businesses don't? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Thanks, Tanya. Yeah, so essentially, so those folks that are employees and obviously working from home and work remotely, because they are an employee, they don't need a business license because they're not a business. They're just an employee for a business, and their location is what it is in the circumstances, right? So in regards to your question there, for home-based businesses and why their fees essentially more so than others. So the license fee for home-based businesses was increased in June of 2019, and based on the information provided and assessed by the previous city council during the new bylaw adoption in 2020, there was no fee change for these businesses. The one thing that did come out was the $0 for general contractors or mobile massage therapists that don't actually work at home. And the reasoning for that is because they're not utilizing the home at all for any of the operations. So they're not at home, they're out and about, and so they're not utilizing their home for any kind of form of their business there.
Okay, so would it be similar then to how the out of town businesses, that come in and set up, where they don't pay those business taxes? Is that kind of why the home offices are charged then, just to kind of offset the taxes?
So the home-based businesses, their license fees being essentially the $200 is because they have essentially less overhead costs than what those of commercially based businesses do.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Tertius has his hand up again. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, one more question, and that's I think a bit in relation to what Tanya mentioned earlier about the chamber market that the kind of promoting as well. So basically, if I understand correctly, someone can open a business and the product, there's going to be no product at their home, and everything is going to be done online. Because the business, when you register the business, would be registered in Grande Prairie. Again, what is that? Can you just clarify for me, what will that business be then classified? Be as a home business, or?
So they would be classed, if they're just strictly web-based and they don't have any clients or customers coming to the house, they would be considered as a home office, because essentially they are still utilizing their home as their business operations.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Are there any other frequently asked questions that you get that you kind of that people come to you with as they find out more about this, or even just from past years when you talk about business licenses? What are just some of the more frequent questions that you get?
Well, just from past years, the biggest question was, do I need a business license? And in the past years, it depended on the certain type of business that you were. And now, essentially all businesses do require a business license. The one with the new portal that we do have, one question that kind of has come up or mistake is the resident question. So there is a question on there that asks if you're a resident business. And so that means resident business means that you have a physical location within city limits. And a lot of people think resident means that I'm a house. Yes and no, but in this case, if you're a resident business, that means that you have a base location within the city limits here.
Okay, Lionel, go ahead.
Sorry, just in terms of follow-up, Megan, I assume you're the direct contact for anybody that has questions about the application process? So
That's correct.
Are you able to share an email or contact info that if I get responses from tenants I can refer to, or even for myself?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I could maybe connect with Tanya and get your contact information, and I can send you an email with all that information on there.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions from the group? You've been working at this for a few months now. Denise has her hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the information that I was asking for. I'm just wondering if either I can get Megan's email address in the chat box, or you can put the website in the chat box, just so I'm not looking as to where to get the information.
I'll type my email address in the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
So I was going to say, you have been working on this for several months. Do you feel like you've made pretty good headway on this, like without going into specific numbers or details or anything like that? And how has been the communication with businesses and overall? Do you feel confident that you're getting closer to finalizing this whole process?
The last 6 months, we've definitely had a huge increase with businesses applying for business licenses. So it's been extremely busy in my world over here. So I'm quite pleased with the amount of businesses that have applied. There's definitely a little ways to go yet, but I'm quite happy with how much compliance that we've received so far.
Some of it almost becomes sort of a word of mouth thing, like a business to business saying that, hey, you know what, have you got your license yet? You know, you have to get one, sort of thing. That kind of helps sometimes too. And you're not having to put out the message yourselves when it's more, you know, kind of business to business. I'm seeing head nods. Okay, so it must be must work well. All right.
And that's why we appreciate the chamber so much.
Well, good. Well, I'll nod my head to that too. All right, Tanya, go ahead.
I was curious, Megan, you made mention of that businesses don't have to have their license displayed by December 1st. And I guess when is that date? And also I would make a suggestion to hang your business license next to your Chamber of Commerce certificate. We are going to do the same. We just got our business license. We were one of the ones unintentionally, we didn't apply for it. We're like, oh shoot, we're sharing all this information and we know it's a great thing, and darn it, we didn't do it yet. So anyways, Janice took care of us and we have it. So we're gonna hang it up and display it proudly beside our Chamber of Commerce certificate. So anyways, what's the date that we have to have it up by?
So we don't have a hard firm date on that yet. That will probably be coming down the line here in the next couple of weeks or so.
It'll be a good way to remind people inadvertently, oh, don't forget, you have to have your license hung up. Wait a second, I have to hang it up. First, I need to apply for one. So that might be another good reminder for people.
Exactly. All right. Any last questions or even comments from Rebecca? Has probably a comment more so than a question, right?
It'd probably be a bad thing if I had a question. No, Tanya just reminded me of you know, hanging that business license. I know, you know, we're all old and jaded, so maybe it's not that exciting, but one of the new things that was put into the business licensing bylaw with the revisions was youth business licenses. And they are free. They're not required. There's no penalties for youth. It really is more just that opportunity to do something grown up. And we saw a good uptake of that this summer with kids with their lawn mowing businesses and lemonade stands. And they were really excited to come in and get their business license and hang it up at their home. And it was just a sweet experience to see. If anybody participated in the Community Futures Lemonade Day, a number of those students got their business license and had it proudly displayed. So yeah, just wanted to share that anecdote. That was one other change that kind of snuck in there and hasn't really got a ton of attention, but it's a fun and exciting to see those entrepreneurial youth kind of being encouraged in the community.
I mean, I think this can be such a really good thing for the city, and you know, having like I said, a really good understanding of what's out there, what we are, you know, what services we provide, and then other people maybe that are considering moving here with a business can take a look and say, hey, wait a minute, they don't have, you know, X type of business. I mean, this is a great opportunity. So, you know, I mean, it seems like a great reason to, you know, to have a really good inventory of businesses in the city, and you're being reasonable about it. I mean, you're making it fairly easy for people to fill out the forms and get their license. So, I mean, if the chamber can do it, I'm pretty sure anybody can, right, Tanya? All right. Any other last comments before we turn it back to Tertius to wrap up here? All right. We'll send it back to Mr. Jens.
Thank you there, Tom, for being that formal. I do appreciate it, though. But yeah, again, thank you so much to Megan and Cindy. And just to say, you guys, the two of you have done wonderful. You know, especially to be on the spot when you don't know what the questions are going to be, and then to answer them is not easy. So thanks again for that. And I think Rebecca will be proud of what has transpired here today. And then also what Dan mentioned earlier as well, we look forward to continue this working relationship, but also that we can make that data that we get from it very meaningful and make it that it benefits our businesses here in town, and hopefully we'll attract a lot of investments when people can look at that data. So thanks again for your presence here today. Thank you for everyone that has taken the time to come and attend this presentation, and for the good questions out there. And also, Megan, thank you for sharing your personal email address. So it's not always easy to do that, but we appreciate that you want to help us, and if we have questions, and you'll be a good source for us. So I just want to urge you to keep an eye on our website, grandprairiechamber.com, our newsletters, and our social media for future business interchanges. And if there are any, if there's an area of our community you would like to learn more about, contact our office with your suggestion. There's a big event I heard is coming to town on December 2nd. So if all of you can be there for our AGM, that'll be lovely. And that's it. Thanks again, and have yourself a lovely rest of the day. Take care.